Welcome everybody. As if I never get tired of saying it, I am 6am Comics, and this is Reviewing My 9-Year-Old's Comics. You may notice the format is a little different today, and that's because you are listening to a pre-recorded recording. I guess these are all pre-recorded, but this one is more pre-recorded than usual. It's pre-recorded. I'm out of town, but even in my absence, I wouldn't dream of leaving you, tens of people, without your weekly dose of my child's creative output, which sounds really creepy and weird when I word it that way. So we're just gonna get into it. Also, it's not a comic this week. It's a short story with an accompanying illustration. I don't know. He's been really into writing lately. He gets it from his mom. My side of the family doesn't. We don't write good. We just sort of doodle. My wife, however, is a writer, and you should check out her poetry books on Amazon. Links in the description. Ha! You can't even yell at me for dropping an advertisement on you. I'm not really here. It's pre-recorded. In any case, let's break down my kid's short story, which I suspect takes place in the same universe as Super Nolan, which I'll get into later. It's Super Charlie, Chapter Uno. One time, a dog named Charlie was kidnapped and got taken for a walk. Suddenly, a UFO crashed on Charlie, and he got superpowers.
Super Charlie!
One day, a vacuum cleaner was evil.
I am evil,
says Dr. Vacuum Clean Nerd. He robs a bank, so Super Charlie kicks butt. End. For only a few sentences, this story actually covers a lot of world building. Let's break it down. We open our story with a dog napping. While I understand a lot of hero origin stories like to open with random acts of crime and violence, this particular criminal act is never addressed again. In fact, it's so insignificant that it plays zero role in the story except to get Charlie in a position where he can be crushed by an alien craft. But why a kidnapping? Why not a leisurely evening stroll with his owner? Or a summer day in the park chasing frisbees? Clearly, this is a subtle hint to the reader that crime is so nonchalant in the seedy area where Charlie lives that it's just another day in the neighborhood. We see this even more so in the introduction of our story's main villain, Dr. Vacuum Clean Nerd, who seemingly appears out of nowhere and is evil for the sake of being evil. No screaming victims, no shocked onlookers. Heck, I'd be willing to bet the sinister robot just appeared in the middle of the town square, and none of these weathered pedestrians even batted an eye at him.
Jeez, how'd you know there was a guy in there?
There's always a guy in there.
It was probably the second robot bank robbery that morning. Writers take note. This is how you less is more properly. Speaking of lessing more, let's take a look at the story's climax. So, Super Charlie kicks butt. Oversimplistic? Maybe if you're simple. In just 5 words, there's so much to break down. Let's begin with the first word in that sentence. So. A word so many of you took for granted upon reading. But it says so much about our story's protagonist. His motivation was simply a response to evil. Not revenge for a lost loved one, or a race against time to stop something horrible from happening, or an over-entitled sense of duty resulting from a lifetime of regret over not saving his parents from a tragedy. No, Charlie is simply a moral figure who sees evil and is instinctually obligated to snuff it out. That key word being instinctual. We are still talking about an animal, not a human being making some difficult choice. Basic, primal, animal instinct. Not just any animal, but a good animal. A good boy, if you will. Clearly raised in a loving home by good people. My gosh, there's just so much substance with so few words. Evil. So, action. What action, pray tell? Butt kicking. And what more do we need to know? A standard dog couldn't just kick a robot's butt. Maybe it could bite a robot. But that's not what we're told. To kick butt implies that Super Charlie did more than just bark and bite. He threw down. Masterclass storytelling from such a young creator. Immediately, we're given an image of a flying, superpowered, punching, kicking, brawling animal. Technically, we don't even know what kind of superpowers he got from the UFO, but our imagination is filling in the blanks. And that's the trademark of a good story. Earlier, I spoke of world building and potential connections to Super Nolan. I'll quickly touch on that. The obvious connection is the name, Super Charlie. Nolan doesn't have many characters who claim the title of Super, save for one in particular, Super Nolan. And as we recently learned in a previous episode, where we reviewed Super Nolan 2.5, UFOs have made their presence known in Super Nolan's timeline. Could it be the same alien race that Super Nolan sent flying into deep space? I suspect so. Also, Nolan named his super character Super Nolan after himself, and we happen to have a dog named Charlie. So, I can't imagine these two won't team up sooner or later. Until then, we're left with an amazing start to a brand new series of short-form adventures. I'm excited to see where it goes. Anyway, I'm going to give this a rating of 1 tasty dog treat. Not that it doesn't deserve more, it's just our dog Charlie throws up if he eats too many, so 1 is fine.